500, it would just start wobbling like fucking crazy. As soon as I let go of the steering wheel, bro, it was just straight that way, and fuck.
Actual.
Ended up telling one of my workmates, and he was like, well, I'm getting new wheels.
Yeah.
Like, I'll sell you like the wheels on my Honda. And I was like, well, what's your stud pattern? So I figured out the same stud patterns. I was like, man, because 4 by 100. Or 4 by 114, fuck, one of the two.
Yep.
And yeah, and it was literally just chucked me $50. So I chucked him $50, bro. Like, they still had all good tyres on, like 4 or 5 mil worth of tread still, and it was like, me, all good, so I got tyres again. Like,
shit.
dope. Yeah.
That's all good.
I picked it up for $500 off my mate, like the road, like, pretty much. Like, it was a paddock hack.
Yeah.
Like, fucking front and passenger fucking door on right side, bro, had looked like I've hit a pole and like it's all been dinted and everything.
Yes.
Both front guards fucked and everything. Fucking paint fade everywhere, bro. So I went over to Palmy one day and my mate hit me up saying that his brother's just scrapping his little Corolla because the engine fucked out. And I was like, I want both fucking right doors, front and back, and I want both front guards and bonnet and a bumper. And he was just like, sweet, like, how much? And I was like, well, I've got 200, and he was like, oh, 150, that would do. I was like, sweet. And so, yeah, bro, drove out to Foxton, fucking went and picked it up, chucked it in the Corolla.
Man.
They told me, bro, I'd look like a piece of shit. I was like, yeah, bro, it's a bit of cake. Like, what the fuck do you expect, bro? I paid $500 for it. $15 just to get me fucking quarter of a tank.
Shit, really?
Yeah.
$15?
$15 for a quarter of a tank, so that would, like, last 6 to 8 trips to Palmy, and then once, like, E-Light came on properly, I'd, like, hit the fucking speedo thingy.
Yeah.
And I could get 100 Ks out of E-Light.
100 Ks out of Eli.
100 Ks.
Fuck, that's a good reserve.
It was like 26 or 28 to Palmy from Paitoa, so it was like an easy 15 minutes like each way.
Yeah.
And like that's why I like living down in Paitoa, because it was far away for everyone but close enough for me. If that makes sense. Because if you don't know the road, bro, it takes you 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
If you know the road, it takes you 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro, you go through the fucking hills, and I pretty much, like, when you were doing your road last night, bro, Paitoa Track's my road.
Yep. We've all got one of them,
I
eh?
could do it, and, like, my fucking little Corolla was 1.3 carby, bro, and that thing loved fucking 4th and 3rd going through fucking Paitoa Track.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4th and 3rd, bro, up the hill, 3rd, and she'd just fucking get all the way up there, bro, 4th gear, like, yeah, wouldn't even bog down or anything, 4th gear, she'd just start pulling up straight away, like,
Yep.
I wish I never got rid of that car. Sold
Fuck,
for
that's
$300 to my bro Chance. He got it impounded and taken off him. He didn't give a fuck, so I got the letter, bro, got it out of impound, and then sold it for $500, and then I got the Golf.
Yep.
Pretty
True.
much, yeah.
What kind of Golf?
That little black one, that little Mark, I think it was like Mark 4, like older version to Connor's.
Oh,
More
yes.
of like the square with like how the fucking bonnet kind of comes down.
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of thing, not just.
Straight.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
not
know the
like
ones.
Connor's, more like a flat bonnet. And then that fucked out when I was living in Levin, because the alternator and battery fucking pretty much shit itself. Because I was like literally just hit the 80k zone coming out of Levin, bro, and my lights just went straight off. I was like, oh, that's not good. And I like looked at my dash, bro, and that was just slowly just fading away. And I was like, oh no, and like just turned around and went straight back to Aaron Shorts. I was like, fuck this. Rang my boss, I was like, look, like my car's dead, like I'm trying to jump start it right now, it's not doing fucking shit. Like legit, bro, I woke up that morning, turned the car on, went back inside to roll a smoke and make my coffee, and then when I walked back outside again and lit my smoke, fucking it was off. I was like, what? Tried to turn it on, it was dead.
Oh no.
Jump started it, took me like half an hour to jump start it, because I didn't realise that on the positive, the little plastic bits on the side come up, bro, so I kept putting the jump cables on the plastic bit.
Yep.
I wasn't fucking doing anything.
Yeah, nothing at all. Fuck.
So I finally fixed it. But yeah, ended up calling the boss, said that like my parents have a little Corolla that I'm gonna go look at today to buy if it's all good kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'll be at work tomorrow. And they're like, yeah, nah, sweet as. So I took the day off, got a ride into Palmy, bro, and yeah, talked to mum and dad. It was a 05 Corolla with 105,000 Ks on it, I'm pretty sure.
105. That's not too bad.
Yeah, it was a little fucking sport Corolla or whatever. 1.8 litre auto. and yeah, for $1,500.
Okay, it's pretty
Pretty
good.
much. So I was like, man, all good.
That's pretty good.
And that was paid for $50 a week.
Yeah.
So I was like, sweet, yeah, I'll take it. Like,
Even better.
Yeah, pretty much.
Fuck, that's
Like,
pretty
they were
good.
like, we don't care, like, as long as you like pay it off.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, we're sweet with it. So I was like, sweet, that gives me a car right then and there.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, didn't help that where the rocket ship is, just out of Longburn, had a new speed camera. So the first night I went to Palm, bro, I got clocked doing 120 going in the Palm and 120 coming back out. I was like, ah. But
Both ways.
yeah,
Fucking
yeah.
hell, okay.
Yeah, it was all in the same night too.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I didn't fucking know it was there.
Yes.
And Mum's ringing me up like, you're already fucking speeding, right? I
Already
was like, what?
speeding?
I was like, where's the speed camera? She was like, oh, fucking at Shannon. I was like, I didn't even go at Shannon. I went from Foxton to Palmy. I went to Hamatangi way. She was
Yeah.
like, oh, where the red rocket is. I was like, oh, motherfucker. Like, I know exactly where that is. And then, yeah, when the next time I drove to Palmy, bro, went real slow and saw it. And I was like, you fucking filthy cunts.
You filthy cunts.
Fucking clocked me and fucking twice in one night. Like,
Fuck,
in the
that's-
space of like maybe 2 hours.
Fuck, that's
Right.
harsh. That is so harsh.
Fucking filthy Jews.
Bro, my first car, that Hyundai, that purple one, I picked up for $500 off Reach.
Fuck, that's not bad.
It was mint, bro. I picked it up from Casino Countdown Upper Hut,
Yeah.
behind the Countdown St. Mechanics.
Yeah.
I picked it up from there.
7:15. I was gonna say, do you want to roll the podcast?
We already are.
Oh, are we?
Yeah, we
oh,
are.
man, what up? Cold shoulder. How's it going?
Welcome.
Well, that's mean. All right.
It was
yeah,
carry-
carry on then.
Yeah, I picked it up from that Mechanics for $500. I knew the guy. I'd been in there quite a bit. He was a real nice guy. Real
Yeah.
fucking good mechanic. But yeah, I rocked in there, man, and I had my bike for years. Well, a couple of years at that point. And I wasn't actually really looking at getting a car, but I was very much wanting one. Just
Yeah.
didn't really need one, but I wasn't out going my way to look for one because I knew I'd buy one.
Yeah.
And we rocked around there one day, man, and I was just telling him like, oh yeah, I mean to get a car soon, you know, so I can go for my full and, you know, drive around and stuff. And he was like, oh, do you want a
Deal with
car?
the risky bullshit.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, do you want a car? And he was like, do you want a car? I was like, fuck. Well, yeah. I won't say no. Like, what do you got?
Yeah.
He's like, that purple Hyundai out there, like, $500.
Did it come on the wheels as well?
No,
No.
I brought the wheels in the end. I paid $1,100 for those
Because
wheels.
they're pretty much the same wheels as what Barry's got on his Mrs. Honda's, eh?
Yeah, the SA15s.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I recognised the wheels straight. Like when I saw the car, bro, I was like, "That's not fucking Violet's old one, is it?" I had to have a proper look. And, no, wait, no, this is Honda.
No,
True.
yeah, I brought the wheels for like double that I paid the car.
Yeah.
But the car was, when I first got it, it didn't, well, when he showed it to me the first time, it didn't actually have a waff in that moment.
Yeah.
He was like, it needs a wheel bearing. But if you want to pay for the car, I'll use that cash and buy a wheel bearing.
Yeah.
Chuck it on.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
give it a waff. Because like apparently the lady that owned it, it was like inherited from her mum that just passed away at the time, so she was not really keen on keeping it anyway.
Yeah.
The plan was just to get it waffed and get it gone. And so the mechanic said to me, he was like, I'll just say to her, you know, it's worth like $500-600, you know, what do you think? So I got someone here that's actually keen to buy it,
Yeah.
you know, as it is, and she was like, yeah, 500 done,
Man.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I paid him 500. He just went and got a wheel bearing with that cash and chucked that on. And she had just gone for a waff like 2 weeks before. 2 weeks before I'd been there. So it still just had the recheck sheet.
Yeah.
So I brought it in that point, and he was just like, "Yep, recheck done.
True.
Didn't have to pay for the
So,
first waff. I
yeah.
got a waff the day that I walked out there.
Yeah. Fuck yeah,
It was mean, man. I was
Yeah.
stoked.
So
Like,
that's technically your first car.
that was my first car.
Yeah.
That purple Hyundai was. I've owned 5 cars.
True.
Not
Alright,
all that
so
many.
Go through your cars.
So yeah, there was the purple Hyundai,
Yeah.
which I owned for, shit, it would have been 2, maybe 3 years.
Yeah.
Probably
What,
more like 2.
500 and sold it for.
Sold it for $950.
Cool. That's not bad.
That's
yeah.
not bad, and I sold it with no waff, no reg, and a fuck power steering rack. And I didn't
Not
try to
bad.
hide it.
Yeah.
I actually,
yeah.
I put up for
I'm
sale
guessing
that.
with the wheels as well.
No, not with the wheels.
No?
I sold the wheels separate
Oh, how
for
much-
$550.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So technically.
So I made back pretty
Yeah.
much what I'd spent on the car.
And you got a bit of use out of the car.
Yeah. Oh, I got like 2 years out of the car, and I thrashed the
That's not bad.
fuck out of it, man. Like going through those acres with it every day. And I never lowered it. I never wanted to spend like $600 on springs in at the time, and I didn't want to cut them, so I just sent it through the acres as it was, and there was so much body roll. But I had it down to like a fine art, man, like this little 1.5, and because it was manual as well,
Yep.
so it just fucking flew, nippy as shit. She handled, man, with those SA15s on it, they were 7-inch whites, which wasn't like too big, but for a car that size, it was quite
Yeah.
a big difference
Yeah,
from its
yeah.
normal like 5-inch wheels.
Yeah.
And just that on its own, she never let go of the road.
Man.
She never let go.
Man. Alright.
After that, I got the Ute.
Yep.
Well, actually, I got the Ute before I sold the Hyundai. I sold the Hyundai months after I got the Ute.
Oh, beauty.
That one there.
Yeah. Yeah, all nice and,
And,
hidden.
Yep, and haven't sold that yet, of course.
Yeah, and it's fucking amazing still. I still love looking at it, and I can't, like... Yeah, I don't know when I'll sit in it, like, fuck, I haven't even sat on it. I've sat on the back, and that's it. Yeah.
Everyone's sat on the back
I've
of it.
looked at it, and I've looked inside of it, and never got in. Yeah.
Sure, it's just there.
Nah.
It's great. It's on the other side of the cameras where everyone's not
Yeah.
looking
Yeah,
towards.
everyone's like, what you?
What you?
What you?
What
She's got a
you-
you? What? What you
But,
do not know.
Obviously, you know pretty much all the story of that one. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was that Ute that I spent a couple of years building, and now she's just rusting away because I've neglected her.
She's getting wisdom.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
just
aging.
Getting, she's getting more beauty
Yeah.
with her age. Yeah.
In Rust we trust.
Yeah, fucking A, bro. Yeah.
And
Cable tie
then-
customs.
I had the Subi. I brought the Subi at one point.
Mm-hmm.
I paid $5.50 for
Yeah.
that off Craig, because that was his car that he had for a while, and I
Yeah.
used to drive him around when he had no
Yeah,
license
I've
in it.
heard some pretty dope stories about Zubi.
Yeah, we had some
yeah.
fun times in that
Hard, I
Subi.
wish I knew you fellas back then.
I
What
owned
would
it.
they name?
I owned it for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And then ended up selling it. It was 8 weeks to the day, because I freaked myself out too much in it. Back then, I was just go. Like, I
Yeah.
loved my runs through there.
And that was
I
probably
loved
like a
my hot
colourable
laps.
car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bro, every corner I took through the Eckers, I went from Waikanae to the cemetery.
Yeah.
And every corner I took, I went faster. And every time I went faster, she wanted to go around the corner
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't come close to its limits around that road, and I was going fucking quick. Like, you saw what I was doing
Yeah.
last night. Imagine that sort
Yeah.
of mentality
Bro, that was fucking
in the
neat.
Subi.
I'll send you the video that
Mate,
I got too. Like,
mate.
you do not see yourself, like, drop below 100. I was like, oh, I'm loving this. I was like, go, 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 go.
That was good. It was crack up because I got halfway through that last night, and I, like, clicked what I was doing, and that I was in a car that I'd actually never driven before, and I was still doing everything just as natural as I used to. And
I
I've
was
been
cracked
driving
up
that
when you were
in
just like,
ages.
oh, I might need to slow down.
Yeah, in the return trip I took it slow, just in
but
case.
that was mean. Like, the return trip got me to, like, actually look a bit more.
Yeah.
Like, just at the scenery and being like, oh, yeah, and, like, kind of look at the road a bit more.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
be like, yeah, alright, like, if I wanted to, like, hit this, then I've got to, like, drive up it a fair fucking few times before I
Get to
actually
know
be
it.
like, yeah, let's enter this at 60 k's and rip
Yeah.
handbrake and hope for fucking God.
Because as you've probably seen, a lot of those corners, there's real bad dips in them.
Yeah.
As like in the centres of
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
So
and
you'll be
that can
going
chuck you
around
off
and like
as
the
well.
camber's fine in the corner, but you get to like the very apex of the corner and there's just a
Yeah.
mad dip. And I've
Yeah.
lost back wheels on that on those dips before.
Yeah.
But I've also learned to like utilize them. The last corner, as you come out just before the cemetery, so there's like the corner that the cemetery's on,
Yeah.
and there's the one before it with like that little pull-in bay. There's like the worst dip in the world right there.
Yeah.
But I've gotten it to the point that I can just chuck my cars into that dip, and and the way I chuck it in, it just grips into that dip and goes around the corner
Yeah,
from
yeah.
it. You know, I've
Just
learned to
sticks.
utilize that
Yeah.
dip. Fuck, it's cool.
Like a berm kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
of course, doing that sort of stuff in that Subi, man, like, I got to the cemetery and I got out the car, I was shaking.
Yep.
And I was like, yeah,
Hard, I
that's
bet.
it, this car's going. Like, I will not stop. If I was to do that run again in that car, I would have done it faster again, just to try and find its limits. And I just knew that I would end up killing myself.
Yeah.
You know,
Fair.
in that car going on that road or roads like it. Maybe one day I'll get a car that kind of power, but
So I'm guessing
right
from
now.
Subi that came the Hyundai?
yeah. Then I brought the silver Hyundai, and I was at. Back
You still
then,
had the bike.
I've
from
always
then,
had the bike.
Yeah, so the bike was pretty much
bike was my
number
first
one.
vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had that since day one. I've had that for, it will be 9 years now.
Fuck, I haven't even owned a car for that long.
Yeah, I've had that for a very long time. I used to ride that to school.
Yeah. Yeah.
From
yeah.
the Acres, I used to take it to school every
Ride
day.
my bike. Cool.
I had a
True.
motorbike.
Yeah. So how much did you end up selling the Subi for?
5.3,
It's not bad.
and I brought it a shock
Yeah.
in the process. So I'd like
That whole time.
that whole time I just brought a shock, which was all it needed for a waff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I paid $50 for a waff, and I paid like 120 for one shock. and
not
just
bad.
did the work myself. So that's all the money I spent on it.
Yeah.
Oh, I blew a plastic T-piece off the turbo, off the vacuum piping. So I was free boosting for a little down the motorway. That was insane, man. Bro, I fucking...
No limits,
I was
eh?
going down the motorway just past Riverstone.
Mm-hmm.
I got around that corner and just put my foot down, and that must have been when it had broken.
Yeah.
Because it
And
suddenly
it
went
just
from
opened.
like 11 psi to fucking off the clock on the gauge.
Whatever she fucking wanted.
And it went like real quick for a split second,
Yeah.
and then cut. As boost cut kicked in.
Yeah.
But it would have, the gauge read up to 22 psi, and it was over that.
Yeah.
So like for a split second, it just went from like
Probably
0 to
hitting,
boom,
like,
and
like 35.
I
maybe.
sunk back in
Yeah.
the seat when it happened. Holy shit! I sunk back in the seat. But of course, it wasn't even drivable because the boost cut.
Yeah.
You know, unless I just kind of semi-throttled the feathered the
If
throttle.
you drove it like a dado.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which of course I wasn't even getting normal boost out of it doing that.
Yeah.
So I just went straight down to Bunnings, brought a garden T-piece for like the hoses you'd lay in your garden for sprinklers.
Yeah.
I brought a pack of them,
Put
bro,
that
for
on.
$2.50 and just
Yeah.
put one of them in and was like, mint, chuck the rest in the glove box.
Yeah. Professional parts. See? Genuine parts.
I guarantee you it's still on that car now.
Yeah, and it's probably still going, man.
Yeah, probably still boosting hard.
3.553. That's not bad. That's
So
pretty
I lost
good.
out on probably like $300 all up
Yeah.
and got 8 weeks of fun out of it.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yep.
And then what?
$300 for 8 weeks of fun in a Subi, bro.
That's
That ain't bad.
Yeah, that's wow.
8 weeks, that's 2 months.
One person on my Snapchat that I've seen 2 Subis fixed and now they're broken again. Yeah, that's a good Subi. Yeah, pretty much. So true. And then, what did you get the Hyundai for?
I paid $1,200 for that one.
Yeah.
So I paid way more than my first one for that. And that one wasn't even quite the same. The one I had was, my purple one, was
Yeah.
real rare. It wasn't the lift boot, so the window didn't go up, it was just a pure boot.
Yeah.
So it was that much longer overall than all the other Hyundai Ascents.
Yeah.
And it looked way better because of that. The boot was longer.
Because the same wheels that were on the Hyundai are on Bluebird now, eh?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, well actually I only got 2 of them on the Hyundai, the Borbets. I only ended up getting 2 of them on instead of all 4.
And that was the front?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that's just because they cleared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they were obviously meant for the Bluebird. I brought them so long before I bought the Bluebird. But yeah, I had that silver Hyundai. I was at a low point in life and like just really wanted my first car back. I spent so much time in that thing. I had so much attachment to my first car.
Yeah.
And then so I ended up buying the second one. I also knew it like the back of my hand, so if anything went wrong, I knew what I was doing. I even got the Haynes manual for mine around here, so still, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that's coming in.
Yeah, and that was cool. I ended up cutting the springs and
That's right.
completely
I remember
fucking
that.
it. I just went full tit on that car. I was like, fuck it, this car is just gonna get fucked. I sold it for $350 in the end, and the cunt ended up getting me tickets and shit because I was lazy and didn't take out my name,
Yeah.
and then he ran through fucking so many street speed cameras,
Yeah.
and
Just didn't give
2
a
weeks
fuck.
after fucking buying it, and I was like, fuck. And then 2 months later, bro, a letter shows up and it says it's an impound. And I'm like, oh, holy fuck.
Should we got it back?
I would have, but I had already changed my name over by that point. Then I
Yeah.
just sent the letter out, and then I changed my name over, then I received the letter, which sucked, otherwise I would have. So
Yeah.
I should have speak, Kitty. So I would have. Would have been like, yeah, I'm here to grab my car.
True.
But yeah, so I sent that into the ground, and that was cool, but I don't know, it definitely wasn't the same as my first car.
Yeah.
You know, my
And
first
then
car
you got
was
the
obviously
Bluebird.
always my first car, and then I got the Bluebird, and I'm now pretty damn stoked with the couple of vehicles that I own.
Yeah.
Just need to get them legal.
That's not bad. 5 cars, to be honest.
But I've had so many more motorbikes. Like I grew up, obviously had the Accas. My old
Yeah.
man got me my first pit bike when I was 10, and I've been working on engines ever since. The
Yeah.
day that he got me that pit bike, it was Christmas Day, and it was all fully assembled, this pit bike, ready to go.
Yeah.
And he was like,
Like the little tiny.
the
lights.
125s.
Yeah, yeah.
So like
Like what Ethan's got.
exactly
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah.
Exact same.
So like.
Mine was real cool too because it
Pit
was
bike.
actually done up a bit. It had reverse racing shocks on the front.
Yeah.
It had a custom exhaust. It had drilled jets. So it was a 125, but it went to like 135, maybe 1.4
Yeah, yeah.
sort of thing. She was pretty cool. Like it was pretty dope. But yeah, that first day, my man was like, "Yep, you can ride it. As soon as you pull it apart, put it back together again."
Yeah.
Fuck. Like, took me all day, but I straight away after all that knew exactly where everything was, exactly how it all worked, and if I ever needed to replace anything on it or do any work on it, anything at all, I knew how to get to it.
Did
I
you
knew
know
what to do.
was what?
Yeah. Well, there'd be things like he was like, "You got any questions? Just ask."
Yeah. So,
so I'd
like,
be
you
like,
had to find out what name was this.
Yeah, be like, "What
name
part's
is
this called?" And you're like,
Yeah.
"It's blah blah blah." I'm like, "Oh, mate." You know, a lot of them I knew what they did. Like a carburetor, for years I knew how carbies worked, but didn't actually know
Like
that
the
it was a
full
carburetor
understanding,
or
yeah.
like what it did for the engine.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
knew how the fuel travelled through a carburetor, that the float keeps it level, and once it uses fuel, float goes down, fuel comes in,
Yeah.
that screw adjusts the air coming into it. You know, I knew all that shit, but didn't know that. Oh, so then it sends the fuel from this to the engine, goes into the piston, and ignites.
Yeah,
You know, so I had I've had so much knowledge for a long time on cars, and after that it just went from there. It was.
Well, come
work
help
on
me with my
go-karts.
car then.
I'll come up here with your car. Just these days I don't tend to get under them. I try not to
Well.
like get dirty around them anymore, which is the hard part.
We'll change that. We'll get you under the car.
Oh, I'll get under cars,
Yeah.
man. You saw me the other night under
Yeah.
your car. But
You can pull my power steering pump out for me.
bro, I have like been in absolute states. I was that guy that back then. I
Yeah.
was that guy back then
Yeah.
that used to like always have black hands.
Yeah.
Face was fucked, hair full of grease. Like
My
I
hair's
was-
fucking rubber at the moment.
I remember when I was like, I would have been 16. I was at my mate's place. We were up that way. I'll say that way.
Yeah.
Back then, he was my only mate that I had, and he had a mean garage. We had heaps of bikes between us. He had like 3 cars. I had my car, my bike, plus a pit bike and 2 other bikes, dirt bikes. Like we were always working on shit. He had a D21 before he got this one, and then sold it to me. And like we did heaps of shit on that. We manual converted it.
Yeah.
And that was the funniest experience ever, man. Like I've never done a whole day's work on a car
Yep.
where like we were never fucked off. Anything that went wrong, we were just like laughing at each other about it or making it fun in some way.
Yep.
Like back then, working on cars was so good. Like now I pull apart a car and I'm getting fucked off that I can't reach something or
the bolt's
you know,
not turning.
Bro, we
or...
took the transmission. We're taking the old manual transmission out of his D21, right?
Yeah.
It was a KA24, so it was petrol.
Yeah. Yep.
And we took the diff out. We took the drive shaft out,
Yep.
and we were about to take it out, and we knew that obviously it was going to start pissing out transmission fluid. So we had a bag at the ready,
Yep.
and we were going to our plan was pull the drive shaft out, get it dropped off at the other end,
Yep.
and then shove this plastic bag over it, and tape it on real quick
Yeah.
before
And
we
then
spill
the
too many.
oil just goes in the bag.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? We pulled the fucking drive shaft out, and it lands all over my face. Transmission fluid everywhere, bro. I'm fucking drinking this shit. Like, and I'm like, can't get the fucking bag on. I'll tape it on and shit. And he gets it on. His arms are all covered up to his shoulders and the shit. Like, I'm lying in it with it fucking all over me. Like, bro, and we're like looking at each other and we're like, fuck. And then we look up, bro. The bag's now getting full.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh fuck, like this wasn't like
Fuck,
a
we gotta
shopping
change
bag.
it.
It was quite a small like
And I'm
Ziploc
guessing you
bag.
didn't empty the sump.
No, bro, we
No.
didn't empty any of it, so the whole lot was pouring out. Yeah, fuck, so now we know we have to like then get another bag and take this one off and put that one on. And bro, we spent like 3 hours with the kitty litter fucking over the floor, cleaning that shit up, man. Like, oh,
Fucking hell.
it was mean though. At the end of the weekend, we got the other gearbox in,
Yeah.
gear shifter in, and
Yeah.
all that, clutch in. Fuck, she was
All
mean.
cleaned up.
It was dope.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Fuck no. Yeah. Mean. Fuck yeah. Oh, the good times of having or working on cars, eh? And like, yeah, even then now, yeah, I get pissy with shit, but it's not hard to just take 15 minutes out, reassess like the problem, and then come back to it now.
Yep.
It's just like I'm old enough. I should not be getting shitty over something not coming off, or because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yep.
It's not hard to be like, yo, I'm here. I'm gonna video call you right now to show you what's going on, because half the people are like, what? You try to explain to them, and it's like,
Yeah.
hold up, I'll get a photo.
Explaining something to
Yeah.
someone's so hard to do.
Yeah.
Like, it's so much easier to show them, or at least be in person to like talk about it. You know, you can be like,
Well.
look, like doing this with this part here, and you know, and then you can normally get the idea across.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's why like it's good having like you guys around as well, because it's not hard to hit you up. Like back when I got into cars, like I had my man, and from that it was just do it his way, and if I didn't do it his way, you're a fucking idiot. So yeah.
Luckily, I was very
really.
much taught to like work out your own way that works.
Yeah.
Because like, luckily I just had a parent that wasn't very good at teaching.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, so
Same.
instead of trying to teach their ways onto me, it was like, this is what it is. Like, this is kind of like roughly like, you know, find the best way for yourself. And hey, that's worked, because all these years later, I could go up to a car, start pulling it apart, and be like, oh man, that's how it works. Put it back together. You know, I just work it out by doing it. I'm not scared to jump into a car and start pulling it apart. You know, a lot of people are quite scared of that.
Yeah,
Quite
but
scared
at
to
the
do
same
that.
time, like a lot of people only have that one car
Yeah,
as
well,
well,
that's
so
fair.
like it needs to be fixed by the time they need to go back to work, kind of thing.
That's very fair. I can understand that. Like, I had that last year living in Woodville.
Yeah.
You know, when my Bluebirds wheel studs snapped, and you ended up fixing them for me, man. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't have the time to do that. You know, by the time I got
Well,
home on
yeah,
a
that
Friday,
was
I just wanted
really-
to sleep my weekends away.
Pretty
you know.
much. That was the only really reason why, like me, Colin, and Stephen just jumped in. I was like,
Oh,
fuck
and
it,
I will
like,
forever appreciate it. you
Like I know you got a little bit like upset for not being there, which is fair. Like fuck.
That wasn't
like,
so much at you guys. I was upset because of the situation I was in, and wasn't able to be there. You know, I had to work that day, and I let my frustration out on the fact that I had to work. I actually ended up doing a real shit day at work and fucking up a few things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just fucked off in that moment, and it wasn't getting at you guys at all. Like, I could see what you wanted to do, and that you guys have achieved that. And like right now, like I'm probably still wouldn't have fucking fixed it if it was me, bro. You know, like it would still be up there, and I'd be driving this fucking thing.
Yeah.
You
Still
know?
breaking.
Yeah. So you know, I'll forever appreciate that, man. 100%. You got that wheel off, and I fucking couldn't.
Yeah, well, it was pretty easy. Like, I've dealt with studs quite a few times, so, like, I already knew what I was doing. That's why I was like, fuck, it's only going to take me 10 minutes. Like, and it did. It took us, like, 10, 15 minutes, bro, and it was off.
Yep.
I was like, man. And then, yeah, fucking, fucking, my brain just went dead, eh?
That's right.
Like,
Getting those new studs into that fucking sucked, man.
Yeah. Were they twist or
No, they were
smash?
tap. Yeah, right. And of course, because we didn't take the hub off,
Yeah.
we could only tap so much. We took all the brake shield and shit off, so I could get behind there a bit easier. But still, like, you know, I could only get to so much. So I just got the impact from where I'm working. Just you know, put a few washers on there and a bolt and just fucking sent it.
Yeah.
But man, I had like. These washers were fucked by the end of it, bro. Like, holy
Boy, yeah,
shit,
I
they
bet,
took
I bet.
a lot to fucking pull in.
Well, your hubs or rotors or hubs, fucking what? How old's that car?
31 years.
Yeah.
Well, they'd be the original studs and original hubs.
That's what I'm thinking. So like, probably the amount of corrosion and rust that was like in those holes, but yeah, I see why it was a little bit of a struggle to get it in.
Yep.
Yeah, for new ones especially, because new ones are probably a little bit fatter than what the old ones are as well. So you probably actually like fucking dug a groove.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Well, they ain't
Which
going
is
nowhere
good.
now.
Well, yeah, until like you need to snap them again. But if they are a little bit bigger, that's just good for next time. It's not going to be so much of a cunt to get in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but once they're in, they're in.
Oh
which is
yeah,
the good
they're
thing.
in.
Yeah.
They're definitely in. Like,
Yeah.
fuck
Pretty
yeah.
much.
That was
Pretty
mean.
much. True. So 5 cars. That's not bad to be honest. And how old are you?
24.
Yeah.
Yep. I've tried not to like blow all my money on cars, and I don't know. I was
I
always.
wish I didn't.
I've always been as a very, very sentimental person.
Yeah.
So like, I hold attachment to fucking nearly everything, which is probably not a good thing, but I do.
Yeah.
So with my cars, I can't let them go, even if I fucking wanted to. Like, if I need money, bro, I'll either go without or sell something else that's less close to me, and something like that out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Exactly. See,
I'll be living in
I wish
that.
I had one of my old ones. Like I regret quite a few of my ones. Not just seeing the price of what they are now, but just more of the fact of like once in my life I actually wanted one of them, and like now that they're so hard to get and they're worth fuckload and they're pretty much just a rare car now. And since by 2023, fucking anything under 2000 we can't get in. So
Yes.
it gets a little bit harder. So like,
what we have in the country's what's left.
well, yeah, exactly. Like sitting here today and knowing that I've owned an 85 323 and 2 fucking 4-door Sky R32s, bro. It's like I still wouldn't mind owning one of these vehicles. Like, I
now
would
it's
still love to have
way harder
it.
to
Yeah,
do.
yeah. Like, fucking from my vehicles that I've had, bro. Like, my first ever vehicle that I got chucked into was a 10.5 grand Ute.
Yep.
Yeah, I got told to look for a Ute 5 grand under. So, looked for a Ute 5 grand under with my mate, bro. Like, I always wanted a Ute. Like, just loved. I don't know what I liked about it. I just liked. Had like seen all the large utes kind of thing and be like, yeah, that's fucking mean. Like I could still do whatever I want. Like I can chuck a dirt bike on the back or blah 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 kind of thing. So yeah, look for utes for ages, bro, and everything. Like I showed my old man was like, nah, that's too fucking low or rah or blah 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 and all that kind of shit. And then he looked on trade because I was looking on Trade Me. And he looked on Trade Me, bro, and I fully watched him like see this like kind of lifted 99 Hilux, bro, non-turbo 3 litre diesel. It's done like 400 and something thousand Ks, fucking brand new tyres, full service history, brand new canopy, blah blah, 10.5 grand, boom, bits.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you told me 5 grand under, cunt. Like, not 10.5. Like, what are you trying to do? So, like, I was like, no, I don't want that. And he was like, what do you fucking mean? I was like, well, you told me 5 grand under, that's 10.5. That's way over budget. Like, I'm not paying that. And he was just like, well, tough shit. Like, you'll get that. You'll get what you're given. I was like, well, fuck you. I don't want it. Like,
That's not getting what you're given.
yeah,
That's forcing you to buy something you don't want.
Exactly. So, I, like, fucked off, bro. And then I came back, like, maybe an hour later, and I was like, can I borrow 20 bucks? It was like, I just fucking spent 10.5 on a ute. Like, I'm not giving you 20 bucks, and I'm sitting there like, I'm fucking paying for it, cunt. You didn't spend shit. Like, give me 20 bucks.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, if you don't fucking want it, I'll give it a mark. And I was like, yeah, give it a mark. Buy me something else. Like, I already had 2 grand saved up, so I was like, I've got 2 grand to deposit on something.
Yeah.
But like when my dad first wanted to give me a vehicle, it was an Evo 4 that my mate, like his mate, imported because he did like all the body work and all that kind of shit. And back 10 years ago, 10 to 12 years ago, bro, like importing shit was cheap as fuck.
Yes.
Like now it's expensive. Easier. Like back in the day when my man was doing it, it was even cheaper. But so yeah, my first original vehicle was gonna be an Evo 4, but my mum whinged like fucking crazy, bro. It was a full rally spec Evo 4, like caged, half cage and everything, buck seats, fucking all the works. Last thing I remember about it was 330 horsepower. So that's not too bad. Like it's probably like 240 or 220 kilowatt. Yeah. So that's like a bit more than standard, like a little bit of work done to it kind of thing. So, and that, like, the only reason why Dad was bidding on it was because just to help him out, kind of thing. And then he was like, fuck it, I'll give it to Aaron. Like, he can use it as his first car. It's manual. Like, we want him to learn manual, like, da-da-da. But because Mum was like, no, he's going to fucking kill himself. Like, you're an idiot. Don't buy it for your son. Dad's just like, but it's cool. And I'm sitting there like, it's really cool. And Mum's just like, you're both fucking idiots. Yeah. Like, so, yeah, Mum ended up, making Dad miss the last like couple bids, so I didn't end up getting that. So I ended up getting the ute. So that was all good. Paid 10.5. Fucking got a loan out. Ended up being for 8.5 because I already had the 2 grand. And so yeah, paid that. Paid most of it off. Got it down to like 3 grand or something. Yep. And then at that point, I pretty much fucked it. Like my last time taking it out forward driving, bro, I blew both diffs. Fucking. You could pull the handbrake right out, like, to my face, pretty much, bro.
Well, bro, that's exactly what my old man fucking said to me when buying my first car. Well, he didn't know I was getting my first car. I just kind of got it without my parents knowing, and then just rocked up with it. But he was like, don't go buy a fucking brand new expensive car or anything worth fucking a bit of money, because you're gonna fuck it. Like, you're gonna absolutely ruin your first car. Like, buy something that's like 1.5 and under, engine size, you know. Front wheel drive or something like that, you know, just something small, nuggety, that's cheap on fuel, and like if it fucks out, it doesn't fucking matter, you know. And that's exactly what I did. It was crack up too, because I got it when I said with the mechanic buying it from his. I told my mum about it like the night before. Well, I went and viewed it that day. He offered it to me, and then went and got it the next day. And but then that night, I was talking to my mum about it, and I was like, $500 ain't bad for a car, Waff and Red, you know. And she was like, but she was real skeptical because of course she didn't really want me driving a car on the because I was like 16, so like it's a mum's concern. I can understand that.
Yeah.
And so the next day I naturally like had it parked in the driveway waiting for her to come home and see it.
Yeah.
And that was pretty crack up. I was out there like washing my car and she pulls up in the drive and just stops the van, looks over, reverses out. Like,
oh no, I'm in trouble.
Nah, but she was all good about it. Like, I was still on my learners when I very first got it, so she didn't want me driving it like on my own and shit. So we just left it parked up on the end of the drive, and I just took it out occasionally, and she sat there otherwise. And I spent every day before work out there doing something to it, like working on the speakers and shit. Like, I had that car looking clean before I was even able to drive it properly. And it was cracker, man. Like my mum went to work every day, and I had work from 2 p.m. in the afternoon as a chef. So I'd wake up at 7 in the morning and have like hours of shit to do with daylight, and then go to work till 10 at night and go home again.
Yep.
So I spent my mornings driving my car around Tokyo Park. While my mum was at work, she would go to work and I'd jump in the car and be like, I'm only going to learn one way.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. I was like driving around Tokyo Park fucking quick, man. I don't know what, back then I must have just not cared at all. But like I didn't care for any like of the actual road rules. I was just was in the mindset I need to learn how to drive manual really fucking well.
Yeah.
And so I was going around all these streets doing like 70, 80 Ks, taking these corners at the same speeds around Tokyo Park, just doing laps all day long, bro. Like, I know, I grew up around Tokyo Park at my mum's and walked those streets every day with like neighbours and stuff, or on my own, and like, you never saw any cops out there as a kid, man. So like, I guess I just assumed
not as
like,
bad as what it is now.
Yeah. So like, I could spend all day fucking driving around Tokyo
And
Park
not
at
see a
70
single
Ks.
cop.
People weren't complaining. Like I was being, if another car showed up during the day, it's a quiet place. So like, if another car showed up, it would slow down to 50. But if nothing was around, man, I was honing around. No one cared.
Pretty much.
It was sick. I learned how to drive. Like, I mean, obviously I learned how to drive before then. It was that paddock like I showed you last night. Next to my dad's place that I learned how to drive as a van in. That was just an auto high ace diesel turbo. And that was cool. It was a super custom, so that was meant it had like the moon roof and the sun roof and the 2 side doors that pulled themselves shut, and it was flash, man. Locking front hubs, high-low four-wheel drive, fucking mean. Took you anywhere. But yeah, he was always just go take that out into the park and just go see what it can do. Like just go find out how to handle a car when you don't have control. So like I got the basics of the handling of a car then. But of course no actual like kind of practice of speed round a corner or just on the road in general, you know. I got to learn how a car felt doing no more than like 20 Ks in a grass paddock. But you know, of course being on the road's a whole different story. I just had the feel of if I ever lost control of my car, I kind of knew what I was doing already, which was cool.
Well, yeah, I think that's why the old man got me the Hilux as like first vehicle kind of thing, because like even though it was like slow, you could still like kind of go fast in it, kind of thing. Like at the end of that, it's still a vehicle, like you can still go quite fast in any kind of vehicle. Like, it just depends on like how fast it wants to go. But yeah, I feel like that's why it brought me that, because like it was still fast enough that like I could have probably still killed myself if I tried to hit a corner, a real sharp corner, at fucking a certain speed. But like that taught me like, right, I can't go quite fast round corners because you got a big body, bro. Like you're in a lifted truck, because like it wasn't just, it was like DJ's height kind of thing, and fucking I ended up just winding up torsions pretty much till they couldn't turn anymore, and I was like, man, sweet, leveled it out. I had to like wind the back down, I think like 5 turns, and then she was properly leveled, and I raised it like 42 centimeters. I was like, man, I love
torsion bars, bro. Torsion bars are sick. That's what that has in the front. And that is just like lowering that took me like 2 hours to lower the whole car.
Trying to level it up and fucking everything.
She still doesn't sit level.
Nah, neither does the crowd.
It's so wound down in the front that it keeps sagging on me, and I have to keep winding it back up every year because she just keeps getting lower and lower. If you look at her sit, she's actually lower on the driver's side, and I've tried.
I've noticed that.
I spent months, bro, absolute months,
just like
trying to get that level. I'd be like inching one side up or inching one side down, and I'm like, yeah, it's kind of level, but now the whole ute's sitting too high for my liking. So I try and like evenly, like 2 turns on that side, 2 turns on that side. Look at it, and it'll be like this. I'm like, fuck you.
Okay, half a turn this side, then look at it.
I still can't get level, and even when I do, it's not going to work because we don't have a full tank in there. She leans to one side anyway. No matter what, I'm like going to be leaning to one side, and I could compensate for a full tank. And by like lowering that side more. but then of course if the tank's empty, it's just going to be that way.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
the joys of having a light vehicle,
Yeah.
a real light vehicle.
So yeah, fucking sold the Ute for 8. Ended up selling that. Lost quite a bit of money because the engine, the 3 litre was fucked. So we ended up putting the 2.4 in. And changed the radio around, and obviously new diff and a windscreen and handbrake and everything. And then some of the money went to like dad, and some of the money went to my sister, just because like me and my sister co-owned it.
Yep.
Like there was a point where I couldn't take over the loan, so she took over it, so she got the vehicle in a way. So from there I got a little BG. One of the two. Little Familiar, 1800 Familiar, bro.
Yes.
Turn the time up, blue 6 gearboxes.
What? Tell me what's a Familiar like to drive? Because I've never actually driven a Mazda Familiar,
So you
and
know
I've always wanted to drive a 323.
You know Craig's little Daihatsu Charade turbo thing that he had after the Ute? Pretty much like that, bro.
True.
Like, so, because I turned the timing up for, like, okay, so that was quick as fuck. For some reason, it was quick as fuck. Like, I ran on 98. The guy, like, my best mate, I brought it off for fucking $1,200, really. Got a loan out, spent like $400 on sounds. I was like, yeah, man, fuck yeah, sounds. Got to a point where, like, I got everything working, but I just couldn't get fucking sound to play. I was like,
Yeah.
fuck sakes. Yeah, so, like, that kind of pissed me off. But I ended up getting it sorted anyway. But, so yeah, fucked around for a little bit, and I was like playing around looking at timing and all that kind of shit, and because it was dizzy, you could turn the dizzy rating up to turn the time up.
Yeah, you
So I
have
was
to rotate
like,
it a little bit.
yeah, so I was
love a
like,
good distributor.
I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna try this and see what happens, kind of thing. Like, just brought new tires for it, got some nice little wheels for it, kind of thing. And got it wafted and reg. Like, fuck, my DC shoe, bro, could fit in my exhaust. It was a fucking chimney, pretty much. Yeah, like, little tinted, bro, little fucking 5-speed. But, like, she kind of idled a bit weird after I changed timing. But, man, like, she idled at 700.
Yeah.
But, real low idle, but fuck it sounded lumpy, so it was cool.
Sound like he's
Yeah,
cool.
bro, yeah, bro. The first
Like the Bluebird, bro.
Yeah.
She does the same
Yeah,
because
pretty
she
much.
idles so low.
Yeah, pretty much. So the first ever time I took like one of my schoolmates out to drags, fucking he was like real into motocross and shit, like new speed, but didn't know my driving. And
Yeah.
we were heading from fucking, I think it was Rongotier to H Block, like fucking way back in the day, and that's pretty much like Sanson to Foxton, so that long straight, bro. I was on the right side of the road, passing V8s, Evos, and everything, bro. Like listening to them chopping down, and I'm in a momentum where they can't even keep up.
323.
Yeah, bro. And a little 323 Mr. Familiar, bro. Little hatch thing, 2-door fucking.
Oh my god.
Yeah, little $1,800, bro.
Crack up.
Did not like standstills and dumping clutch on the spot because, yeah, by the 5th gearbox, I was like, yeah, we will not try to do SIDS in this thing. Like, it was all good coming in, dumping clutch, ripping handbrake, dope. Like, just about lost my license because I got caught doing a snaky one night. Like, so, brought it for fucking 1,200. Every gearbox that I brought for it, I never paid over $200. So that was like a big bonus kind of thing. Like, okay, 6 gearboxes at $200 each, that's $1,200. Like, it's a bit expensive, but man, like back then, fucking, like I had a good job, so it was good. The night before I went to sell it, I had just chucked the 6 gearbox in, took it for a run, got my license back, got everything legal, got off tickets, bro, and I was like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna go try and get pulled over and be like, fuck you. Ended up going out drags. And my sister was like, don't go to fucking drags because you'll fuck the car. And I was like, yeah, sweet as, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Ended up going to drags, passing everyone. Got to H Block, bro. My sister's like, fucking, I fucking thought I told you. And I was like, oh shit, where are you? Like, couldn't see her, bro, but I heard her voice. And I was like, I'm dead. Like, started like low key turning around, walking back to my car. And I just feel like the back of my hoodie get pulled back. I was like, and there's my sister. But yeah, so fucking, we left that spot, went to Main Freight, the old Main Freight building, so where Bunnings is.
Yes.
So we had everyone coming from Gullside going in, and the line was too long, and I was like, fuck, I'll go up to the little bridge, do a U by placemakers or whatever, and come back down, just cut through, because fuck everyone. Ended up just ripping handbrake and snaking down. Well, the first car coming over the bridge happened to be a cop. and flicked his lights on.
Yes.
The first thing he told me, he was just like, you know what's happening now? And I was like, nah, this is my first time. He's like, oh, I lost a car and lost license straight on the spot. And I was like, what? Nah, no, I'm selling this car tomorrow. Like, I got bills to pay. Like, rah-de-rah. And fucking, he was just like, oh, can you pop the hood? And I was like, why? And he was just like, oh, I want to check your cert plate. I was like, cert plate? And he was like, yeah, for rear wheel drive. And I was like, this front wheel drive. And he was like, you're telling me that you were sneaking like that down the fucking like road and a front wheel drive. And I was like, well, you see. And then I was like, no, I shouldn't explain how I did it because that just gives more evidence. So my sister ended up talking to him. He came up to me and was like, fuck off with the car, pack it home. I'll send you what I think you should get in the mail. Yeah, so that was all good. Ended up selling the car. Man, fucking went out to New Plymouth, bro. Brought my first R32 Skyline. It was a 95. It was a 20DE factory manual. It had 146,000 Ks on clock. Well, from what the car said.
Yeah.
4-door. And yeah, that was me. Brought it for $3,000. No WAF, reg. There was something wrong with the exhaust and something to do with the fuel. And so when I met him, when I took it for a drive, every time you tried to stay on 50, like, because some cars you got to kind of feather the acceleration.
Yeah.
It was kind of fuel surging, like as soon as like it didn't have enough power or like pressure on the accelerator, it should like kind of pull back a little bit.
Yeah. I had a motorbike just the same, bro. I had an old Yamaha from the 80s.
Yep.
When I brought it, and I had it like 4 years ago, she was 32 years old then, so she'd be like 35, 36. And I paid like $1,000 for it, just this little farm bike, bro.
Yeah.
And she wasn't in too bad a condition, just like a bit of like surface rust here and there. Needed a new back tire. The exhaust had a couple of holes, shit like that. Fixed it up and stuff, and got it real good. Did a little bit of work on the top end. Didn't like replace too much, but did a little bit of work on the top end. And made sure the valve clearances were all good and shit like that.
Yep.
And she was an awesome bike, bro. Like she was a 225.
225.
Yeah.
Oh,
This was back like.
What, Honda, Suzuki?
Yamaha. It was a Yamaha Zero 225 XT. So it wasn't like a Yamaha XT 225, which is a real common bike. It's Yamaha XT Zero, so it was a very like off-brand Japanese model that was only released to the Japanese market, and it got imported over here just as a farm bike. It was just for
So
farmers
like
in Japan.
a couple hundred of them got imported, or
Yeah,
just
like
that
I've
one?
never come across another one of them. It has like a deer on the front, or something like a fawn or something on the front, which is quite cool.
Can I steal another bit?
Yeah, man, I think the box is behind you. They're hitting me real hard. If you haven't noticed, I'm loud and confident.
Yeah, no, it's been.
It's dope. But yeah, so anyway, I got that going to a real good point,
Yeah,
but she was the same. She loved full throttle,
yeah,
but hated sitting halfway. She had a speedo on her, and I'd done like all the shit and got all the indicators put on, and headlight, tail light, did the whole lot, but didn't get her road legal, just did the whole lot so I could just switch some plates from that one out there and have some fun. I got up to like 80 k's on the motorway between Toach Park and Gibbon Street. Down here, it was pretty cool. But anyway, I took her up Himatangi Beach one time, and that was like the funnest time up Himatangi Beach I've ever had. I didn't like go up any of the dunes, I just went down the flat part of the beach, and I was tapping out at 140 in that thing, and like, this is a bike from the 80s, bro, like, but she didn't like sitting halfway. If I tried sitting at 50 k's, she would be and like would hate it. No matter where I sat, if I sat at 40, 50, 80, she didn't like it, but she loved it if the throttle was full. So a flat, straight beach was perfect for this bike, man, because it was just full throttle and just let the back end have no traction the whole way. And as soon as like you got close to the dunes over there, it would be back off full, and just let the rotation of the bike go that way, and then back on full. Hold it that way until you got to the water, and off and on, and oh, bro, doing like 120 k's sideways on a bike down Himatangi, man. Bro, it was sick. On this old bike from the 80s, man. I didn't care that she didn't run perfect. I didn't care that like she like had the fuel issues, but fuck, man, high speed going sideways on a beach is bloody cool.
So ended up buying it. I was like, fuck it. So 32, it's $3,000. I want it. Fuck it, I want it. All my mates are getting like fucking S14s or anything, like want a cool car. So I ended up getting it. So that was all good. First corner in New Plymouth that I took around was by the McDonald's and the Mobile right beside New World. And I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna hit second. Done clutch, bro, hit second. Came around the corner sideways, exhaust came off. Yeah, so we pulled into like New World, bro, and the exhaust is held on by hay bale twine.
Yeah.
I don't know how the fuck we drove. Like my little test drive was like a good 20 minutes. I don't know how I drove 20 minutes with hay bale twine holding the fucking hot exhaust. Like how did that work? I was sitting there like,
Oh my God.
we drove all that fucking way, and we had to wait 20 minutes for this cunt to drive to us, and that shit held on. Like, are you serious? So that was
I'm
good.
gonna have to cut you off real quick. I'm gonna have to go to the bathroom real quick.
Oh yeah, yeah, you're good. I'll just keep talking to everyone.
Carry on. I'll be 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Alcohol's catching up.
Oh yeah, true. No, not good. Yeah. See, this is what happens, children, when alcohol fucking hits you. You gotta do the P's, and then you get caught because you gotta do it every 5 minutes. It works. It works. This is kind of awkward. Normally you've got like someone sitting here so you can have a conversation with them, but like when you're by yourself, it's kind of like you just want to talk to your beer. But no, I've had maybe 10 cars all up. I've had, so the Hilux, the Familiar, my first 32, and I brought a Libero, and then from the Libero I got 85 323 Mazda wagon, and then from that brought another 32 20 debt, and then after that, yeah, got the Paddock Cat Corolla for $500, got the Golf for 800, and then the Corolla and now the Crown. So yeah, did you know this is quite like, I've just been talking to my beer, really.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Well, think about this. Right now, think about the people that are currently watching.
Yeah.
So as much as they're not here right now, in an hour's time, they are technically going to be like over there, per se.
That's
So
good.
theoretically, right now, they're right there,
Yeah.
because like you guys are there, aren't you? See. So like,
Hello.
hello.
But yeah, so
Hay bale twine.
Hay bale
It was
twine.
held
Yeah,
up with
bro.
hay bale twine.
Yeah.
That's where we're at.
So went over to the mobile. He gave us some like number 8 wire or whatever that pretty much had the exhaust all the way to Palmy.
Number 8 wire.
Drove it all the way to Palmy, bro. Did a little skid. Fucking back then, like I watched everyone go for a cool down. Like how we do our cool downs, how we'll like drive up, sitting on the spot. It would just run.
Yeah.
But back in Palmy, like they used to take it for a little drive and then come back up and then park it up, kind of thing. That was like our cool down. So I took it for a little drive. Came back and I like hadn't turned it off. It was just sitting there, but I didn't realise it turned off by itself.
Yep.
And so I was talking away, and then we started playing with the BR limiter because it came with the BR limiter, and I was like, "Fuck yeah!" I've heard heaps of shit about these. Like, I want to see like what it does,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
like
what it's
how
all
would
about.
if yeah, pretty much. And went to turn the car on that. Well, actually, we put my foot on the accelerator and that nothing. I was like, "What the fuck?" Went to turn the car on, nothing. Did a little toe, and she puffed out a big fucking fat cloud of blue smoke, bro. I was like, "Oh yeah, she's dead."
not good.
So next morning, fucking looked over, looked on the block, and yeah, it had seized on the block. I was like, "Man," so I just pretty much brought a dug car.
Yeah.
So that wasn't too bad. Brought a 20 DE Neo for $200 off my sister's boyfriend.
Yeah.
And that was all good. That had fucked injectors, so like I was telling you a couple of weeks ago, used a lot of start you busted.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Got that going, which was dope. Ended up selling that for 2.7, maybe like 5 to 6 months later. That was pretty much my first track car. Was my first 32. That was my ever first track car, pretty much.
Yeah.
Smashed out a lot of like drift days at Manfield.
Main.
And that got me into like just doing from like manual to like handbrake. It got you in the control of like, right, I
Yes.
need to come into this corner, handbrake, and then accelerate. So I need to figure out, okay, I need to drop into second when I come in, kick clutch, rip handbrake, drop handbrake, drop clutch, and power in.
You get a lot of good like hand-eye coordination.
Yep.
Through doing this shit. Hey. So much hand-eye coordination.
To the point you don't look.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like when you're driving a normal manual. When you start off, you look. When you know it, like the back of your hand,
You
you
just
don't
know
look.
it.
Yeah.
You go to
Pretty much.
reach. You know exactly where your gear shifter
Yep.
is.
So from there, sold the 32 for 2.7 to one of my mates, just because like he was looking for like track car and kind of thing. And I was like, fuck it, like I'll sell it to you cheap, bro. Like she's just a hack. She's been a bit dented from like the track days and shit like that. So sold that for 2.7. Brought my 1996 Libero. Orange, fucking, it was green stickered for loud exhaust and bull tyres. And when I brought it, the fella had put new tyres on it and put silencer in it. So that was all good. Took it for a test drive, it was dope. Fucking, you had to put, like, if you thought you had your foot on the clutch full down, and then you actually grab the fucking steering wheel and pushed even harder, you'd have, like, maybe that much space of, like, play left where it would actually push down. So, like, you'd grind gears quite easily if you didn't know about it.
Yes.
So that was all good. Flew through the wharf, took the silencer out. That problem fucked off with the clutch. I was like, I don't know how, but okay, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Like,
don't complain. If it fixes itself,
bro.
it fixes itself.
Exactly.
This girl has.
Yeah.
She's fixed herself many times. I don't ask questions.
Yeah, exactly.
Just roll with it.
Fucking, that thing was mean. It wasn't like the Subi, like stories that I've heard from the Subi. But she was quick. I could keep up with 25 debts that are fucking actually got traction. They didn't fucking lose traction kind of thing. And my front wheels are at their back wheel and they're not pulling, bro, and I'm staying there the whole time. And I'm like, that car used to, from third to fourth pretty much, if you ranged out every fucking gear, bro, 180 from third to fourth.
Damn.
And then fourth gear and fifth gear would be just off the clock the whole time. Like, she was fucking quick and it was mean.
Yeah, with that Subi, as you just said from the stories you've heard, like there was just the one time that blew me away, man. I think it blew everyone away. Even Craig just is baffled over it these days still. But like there was this one race, man, that Subi did, and that Subi was racing another GF8.
Yeah.
That was a freshly built Sty.
True.
Right, but
like freshly built.
Yeah, but this guy also was like his fourth time rebuilding it. Like so. Backyard rebuilt.
Yeah.
It's fresh backyard rebuilt Sty.
Yeah.
Rex.
Yeah.
It's 5 altogether, and this thing won
by
racing?
Yeah.
And this one R1 won by like 3 car lengths over all of them, and it was just a stock standard Rex. All it had was lowering springs and a front mount intercooler.
Yours and Craig's.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember he can't get over day for a stock Subi, but that shat on everything.
It shat on everything, especially with him pedaling it when he did.
Fuck you.
He knew how to slam that thing into gears. I could never drive it the way he did. It scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
There was this one time, I won't say where or when or whatever, it was a little ages ago.
A long time ago and a far, far away.
Yeah, where I was taken in that Subi over a close by hill. One that's currently going through a lot of changes and has done for some time and is real fucking annoying. And bro, like we were at the bottom of it on the other side, and he was like, surely, I was driving, he's like, surely let me show you what it can do over this hill. And I was like, alright.
Had you brought it by that point?
No, I was just driving around at that point. Yeah. And so we swapped seats, bro, and like we were going up this hill, man, and round all these corners at like 160, 170. I was like fairly still fresh to like fast cars.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is pretty quick. This is good. Like I could see it was handling mint. And then we got to the top, and like back then that top corner was like you went round like this a little bit, and then it got to the peak of the hill.
Yeah.
There was like a main bump as there's a side street at the top, and then it went round that way.
Yeah.
And we went up that bump and around that corner at like fucking 200 and something. I was off the clock. I tapped out at, I think the speedo tapped out at 200.
Yeah.
And it went like probably that much more around before fuel cut. And so we were just over that point before fuel cut.
Yeah.
Going over that corner, man. I was holding on for fucking life, eh?
Holding the Jesus bar.
And Craig has like the real bad habit of his like comfortable zone for this hand isn't on the steering wheel gear shifter, it's on the handbrake.
Yeah.
And so he's sitting there like almost 220 k's, man, like
ready
hand
to
on the handbrake. I'm looking at it like, don't you dare! Like,
I do not
what
want
the
to go
fuck?
sideways.
We come flying down the hill, hit the motorway, come down the motorway, and pull into like a pulling bay just round the corner.
Yeah.
And that's where initially we were going to pull in and said we'll swap back over there.
Yeah.
We came around the corner of the motorway and he missed it. We were still doing like off the clock on the motorway. And he almost missed it and he was like, oh, there it is with like 100 metres left. Not 100 metres left till the pull-in part, 100 metres left to the stopping point.
Oh, true.
And he just pulls in and jumps on the brakes. We come to a real nice stop, bro. Get out the car, all 4 wheels smoking. Because the brakes are burning. Like, this... Fuck, man, like, it's steam pouring off of these brakes. We're standing there like, we don't know this car, fucking calm down. Like
shh.
Yeah, stop this now.
Oh, no, I never had like moments like that in Libero. I know she handled a bit weird because she ran 18 by 7s. I think 18s were a bit too big. Like, I wanted to chuck like 15s or 16s on by like 7.5s or 8s, and I reckon that would have went a lot better. But so ended up selling that for, fuck, what did I sell that for? Ended up rebuilding it, spent 5 to 6 grand on it, sold it for 8, just to here 2 weeks later get stacked. Like completely stacked, full write-off, bro. Fuck yeah.
Oh.
They were lucky to be alive, like front fucking drivers and passenger seat in the boot, like lucky to be alive.
Damn.
Yeah, so she was gone. From that, what did I get from that? Brought 85 323 Maz wagon for 2.7 Waff Ridge. An 85 323 Mazda wagon.
How much is that?
$2,700 Waff Ridge.
Really?
Yeah, bro.
Oh, you wouldn't come across that now.
Nah, fuck no.
No way you would come
way.
across
It'd
that
be
now.
like 14, 15. She had the 1.3 litre carby. Fucking was on. I think it was either 14s or 15 by 7 Modgies, which had been spray painted matte black, which I was real fucked off about, just because they were Modgies, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, well, that's how I feel with my 2 wheels on this thing.
Oh, oi, don't tell me about it.
Bro, I will never get over the fact that the last owner sanded those 2 down. Sanded down Simmons Gold. You can't get that paint anymore in this country. Like, it is really hard to get Simmons Gold powder coated.
Yeah, and they're like, the only person that I could maybe think of is Caleb.
I've
Since
asked.
he does powder coating.
I've asked.
And nothing.
Yeah, because him and Seth were here after the podcast that they were on.
Yeah.
And we are looking at them, and I was saying to Seth about them as well, and I was like, I don't want to like just paint them gold, you know, I want them to match. I know those front wheels are actually Suzuki Rose Gold, because they've been refurbished before, and I spoke to the guy that got them refurbished, and he said that he couldn't get Simmons Gold, which is what they originally were, so he got them all done in Suzuki Rose Gold, which is like a fraction difference.
Close.
And but then of course that the cunt he sold them to, which then sold them to me, that guy in between us decided he was going to sand them down and paint them black. We got through sanding down 2 of them and gave up and sold them. So now I'm left with 2 silver. I'm not going to just spray no gold on there. I want either Simmons or Suzuki Rose Gold. And now both those colours are hard to come by.
Oh, true.
Yeah, like they're actually both become really difficult. I you know, I'll go for Suzuki Rose. That's what my front 2 are.
Yeah.
They're practically the same. It's a beautiful gold. But
well, yeah, no, it is.
It really is. When I polish those up, man, whoa. I have tried my hardest to look after those wheels. Even when I fuck them up, I'll sand that curbing out and get them back to looking good. But yeah, I know. At least with that, I guess the back end doesn't have much colour to it, so having silver wheels on the back doesn't make it look too ridiculously different.
No, it doesn't.
But
it still pops.
Yeah. But if I ever come across a powder coater, man, that can do it, I will be ripping those 2 pieces in half real quick and taking them down and being like, yep, paint them now. But most powder coaters, man, it is easy to get. Like, well, when I say easy, they can get stuff like Suzuki Rose Gold, they can get gold, they can get it imported in that, but they'll have to get it imported in like 50 kgs worth of powder. Like, then they're going to use like barely 5 on 2 wheels.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to use fuck all paint. There's no point in them buying it because it's going to cost them way more than the job's worth. And I'll never use it again. Unless I buy 50 kgs worth of powder or something.
Yeah.
As far as all the powder coaters I've talked to anyway, that's what they've said to me, so I've had a bit of an issue with getting that colour. If I ever can though, I will.
Yep.
I will, 100%. I want those wheels to be original.
Yep.
If they are, is to my extent and the previous owner's extent, knowledge that they are the only set in this country, then fuck yeah, I want them to be original. One day if that ever rots away, they will be hanging on my garage wall for life.
I reckon out of all of them, it'd be the 323 that I wish I could probably have the most.
Yeah.
To be honest, just because like original.
Yeah.
Like she was for original interior, like gauges, even like manual choke starter. Like.
Oh yeah, because Carby.
Yeah, bro.
Carby's
like,
a great man.
Oh, fuck, she was a bitch, bro. Like,
Yeah, that's Carby's for
like, you couldn't. Every car, bro, you pull the whole choke out, full up. She's mint. Nah, this one wanted to be a bitch. Like every couple seconds, bro, you had to sit there and like. Either push it in and push it out a bit more because you wanted to die. And it's like, no. Or she'd over-rev too much. It's like, alright, calm your tits, and then she'd die. And it's like, fuck, now I gotta like pull it out just that little bit too much. Or when you were driving, she'd kind of bog if you had it all the way in. So you kind of had to have it like a quarter out, bro. So she'd actually like drive smoothly. Yeah.
This thing's got what looks like a choke.
Yeah.
But it's not really a choke.
Just a fake one.
What it's made for is that what it does is you pull it out and it normally holds the revs up at least 1,000 RPM more than it's idle. And it's not actually a choke to get it started. It doesn't need to get started. It probably won't start with it like that because the throttle's a bit open. But what it was originally intended for, because the D21s were sold quite heavily to like the Canadian market and stuff like that in colder areas, is it was to help it warm up quicker.
True.
So you'd start it up, pull it on, it'll hold the revs at like 2,500 RPM or 2,000 RPM, which is quite high for a diesel, just to warm it up in 5 minutes instead of longer than that.
Like 20.
And it's mean because all it does is I've actually looked, it's just this clamp on the throttle cable, so it pinches the throttle cable and then pulls it slightly more, so it just pulls it up a bit.
Oh, true.
So I'll be driving at 50 Ks, I pull that on, take my foot off the gas, and I'm sitting at 50 Ks, cruise control. You know? Like, I'm like, this is fucking mean.
It's called cruise control.
Cruise control. It's sick.
Oh,
It's fucking dope.
I want to put cruise control in the car now. That would be amazing.
I would be so lazy with cruise control, I think.
Or even the toy roll's got cruise control the whole way here. I turned it on fucking 110. Just cruising here, bro. Yeah, it was fucking mean.
Now, I want to test something on this podcast. We're actually over an hour now, so we can wrap it up if we want.
Yeah.
But I want to test something because at the moment, if you say anything about the like, I'm not going to actually try and say it as least as I can, but anything about the biggest event happening in the world right now, the big thing that everyone's fucking panicking over.
Yep.
Right. Whenever you mention that sort of thing on any video, you get that message at the bottom that says, any information about this, go visit blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Today we've been drinking Corona beer.
Oh, yes.
And I want to test to see how bad these guys are genuinely getting like shat on for the fact that the name's very similar.
Yeah.
Because they lost profit when it initially happened.
Yeah, I bet. Weren't they at one point thinking about changing their whole name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it was
Sponsored
big, man.
by you, by
Corona. Corona Extra. I want to see if like
clinch that first.
So the funny thing is because like the AI of the YouTube will go through and listen to everything as it's processing, and you know, obviously put up things like that for when that is mentioned. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about Corona beer.
Yeah.
You know, so I was real curious
Extra.
to see if it popped up just for the fact that we said Corona Extra.
Yeah. Like, dude, like.
Can you pass me another Corona while you're
Is
at it?
this really made in Mexico though? That's the thing. Like, how many beers actually made here? But
I
they're
don't.
just.
Let's have a
put
read. It
different
might
labels
not
on
be
it.
made in Mexico.
It is 4.5% alcohol. See, for the week.
It's produced by it's produced by the by people in Mexico, imported and distributed by in Australia by that's all numbers. I don't know. It may not be made in Mexico, but it definitely like
Probably,
I guess it was originally made in Mexico, and the idea of it came from Mexico.
Or
I don't
Mexico
know.
still sends like the ingredients and then they just make it.
Yeah. If anyone that's made it this far in the podcast and is knowledgeable on this, how do we import Corona straight from Mexico? I'm curious.
Yeah. Do you know?
I'll get
Do you
my
know
can open
what
here.
the little dots on the bottom are for?
Little
Have
dots.
you ever thought
Around
about
here?
that? Yeah.
Is it Braille?
Braille?
Yeah, tell you what alcohol it is. Braille's what blind people read.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Yeah.
I always wondered if that was the case. I
Yeah.
always looked at it and thought it's either like
So does that just tell you like Corona Extra? Fucking.
I'm guessing. I don't
Blah,
know.
blah, blah,
I
blah,
could be
blah.
wrong. I thought that I've always thought that was the case, as it was Braille. You know, if you have a bunch of bottles of beers in the fridge, you know, you pick one up and you're blind. How are you going to tell which one is without opening it?
Whoa.
You know, like
Yeah,
that would be
exactly.
just having
Well,
that on the bottom.
That's the thing though. Like, if you're blind, the fuck are you drinking alcohol for? Like, you don't know what you're looking at. You don't know what you're drinking.
You're definitely going to walk into those
You
walls.
pick up a Corona bottle like this one per se, and we could have just put a Twisty Pop on it, and you won't know the fucking difference. You'll be like, "Hey, Corona made Twisty Tops, man," and then drink it, and boom, it's poison.
That's true. Blind people would have to be a lot more cautious about
Yeah.
drinking. I guess
But-
it would come down to who you got around you,
And
right?
senses as well, like they do say, once one sense go, the other ones hotten up quite a bit. So I'm guessing if
Your
you,
hearing, your smell.
yeah,
Be like, that's
your
not a
taste.
Corona. Yeah, you'll taste it
Yeah,
straight away. Be
yeah,
like,
you'd
have a
be
little
like-
sip.
like what we have to go right up, I'd smell from like back
Here,
here.
yeah. Be like,
and
yeah,
be like,
that's a
no,
Corona G.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I reckon, to be
Yeah.
honest.
If
Because-
anyone knows anyone that's blind, please.
Or deaf.
I'm curious. I'd love to know. I think that's fascinating because you're right. Like your other senses get heightened as soon as you lose one.
Yeah.
So like you lose your sight, your hearing, and smell and taste gets heightened. So you would probably smell. Especially if you were someone that was a heavy beer drinker.
Yeah.
You'd learn what smells of your beer, where you'd be like, yep, that's definitely this. This tastes like this. A lot more than we would.
Yeah. So if anyone has a blind friend, what camera's on this camera? That camera.
That one.
That one. If anyone has a blind friend, they can. If you do this, I will show you one thing that you can show them, and ask them. Well, you can't really ask them what it means.
You can ask them because they're blind. You can't show them because they're blind.
No, I mean deaf.
Deaf people.
Yeah, deaf people.
Yeah.
What did I say? Blind.
Yeah, we're talking about blind.
Okay, no. If anyone knows deaf person, if you can do the whole, done. If you know what that means, and you can do it to a deaf person, and they tell you something back, tell me what it means. Because everything that I hear what it means, and it's the one meaning that I get told every single time, bro, and it's funny as fuck. I'll take it after the podcast.
Yeah, please do.
Everyone knows, like, fuck, I need to find a deaf person now.
Yeah.
Like, literally, point at your eye, and then see, and then point at the other person, so, like, as, like, you, and then, like, a little wave, and then the little, like...
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, if it's offensive, we're not trying to be. We're curious to what it means.
Yeah, because I've been told the same thing over and over again.
Yeah,
and I think it's crap as fuck. But if it's really like not true, then well, I'm sorry to all the deaf people that I've been doing it to. That's the only sign language I know. Or like I see you. I see you.
I'm pretty sure I know that you were seeing me by looking at me, can't.
Just sit there, like, and you're screaming at them, and they can't hear fucking thing, and then you just forget that they're deaf, and you're just trying to talk to them, and they're just looking at you like, does this fella know that I'm deaf? Like, all I hear is gibberish.
Alright, man, well, we might wrap it up there.
Yeah,
and then we'll hit it, because we're going to go see the boys.
Yeah. Shout out to our boys that we're going to see soon.
Yep. I know some of you are watching. Thank you yet again. We are at... I'm going to double check this actually, just to be safe.
You've jumped up the ratings quite a bit. We're getting there.
Oh my god!
We're going to get paid.
Any sponsors welcome. Yeah. We're at 78 subscribers now. So to all 78 of you out there, we do this for you, fam.
Yeah,
always have, always will.
Amazing.
Go back to the start. We used to say that exact thing for when we had 12 people. Yeah. We do it for all 78 of you. 100%. Be good, live smart. Live life, mind power.
Yeah.
And it's been mean.
Don't hit someone first, let them hit you first.
Yeah, what's it?
Yeah.
Use your words instead of your hands. If they use their hands first, well, full send.
Yeah.
That's it.
Speaking of wise words of Muhammad Amar.
Yeah.
Of 2021.
Laugh. I like it. It's so good. Alright guys, well we're back tomorrow. We've got Holly on the podcast tomorrow from a Youth Welcome round 3. That's going to be dope.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. And then it will be the rest of the week off until the following week. So thank you all for watching.
Unless we find more shit to talk about.
Hey, I might get bored of the weekend and do a third one. Yeah. If there's a third one of the week, it's a very bonus one. Yeah. That's for fucking real. I'm trying to just do 2 a week at the moment.
Yeah.
All the people that have asked to be on, I want all of you to come on.
So and keep asking.
Don't need to keep asking. I know who's coming on. I got a book. I've had a book from the very start of this podcast, so I planned it out so that I could try and organise it somewhat. Yep. But we got Auntie that want to come on. We got JTS Grave that want to come on. Like, we got people that want to come on, man.
Hard.
They want to come on and spit their bit.
Anthony too, since you.
Anthony wants to come on, man. Like. Yeah. We've got all these people.
I was like, oh yeah, hard. I'd love to see what he would have to say on one of these.
For me, it's been a couple of years since I've seen the cunt. Well, I don't think I've actually seen the cunt since I've done all of this.
Like the last time we probably would have seen him was the barbecue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like properly, hung out with him and with you fellas as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, I worked with him, but yeah.
Shit. Yeah, so, I barely see him unless it's a big thing in the scene that comes out.
Shout out to Anthony and Nocturnal Habits.
Yep. Back in the day.
Yeah, bro, I still remember them.
Same. I remember everything that went down.
Sticker too.
I done photo shoots for Anthony before.
I know they're still around. I know you guys, it's just family vibes now and everything, but we know you're still around. Still big ups to you for holding your crew and everything, and still having it as what you guys have it now. So if you're watching this, Anthony, fucking hard, get your ass on here. Yeah, we're gonna get you around. This week's booked up, but I'll be hitting all the people that asked me up over the next few weeks, as I'll be booking and people would come in. Yep. So it's mean. Sick. Couple
couple of like shout-outs because I know you cunts are watching. Nathan Media, I know he's here right now, watching this all the way through.
Who was
no
the
doubt.
other fella? The TikTok fella.
Oh, Pure NZJDM?
Yeah, there we go. Hey, shout out to you,
shout out
fella.
to you,
What
man.
time is it? And it's at the very end.
It's at the very end, bro. You can just skip the whole lot and watch it at the very
don't
end.
listen to it. Just go to your shout out, bro. And
No, we love you, man. We honestly do. We love all of you guys. No shit. It's
Yeah.
all good.
Hard.
But I know the people that are watching now, and I know the people from the past that I know from back then when I was a different person that are watching, and like I'm thankful for the support from those people. Yeah, it's fucking awesome. All the new crews, all the old crews, all the old people, all the new people.
Yeah.
A whole lot of them, man. Like, overwhelmed. Thank you all, and we will catch you on the next one.
Yeah.
Won't we, Aaron?
Yeah, fuck name.
Alright, see y'all later.
Da 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 da. Alright, man.